Hey, welcome back everybody. I am Jem. This is my creative space. Alright, we are here with another video in the series of interactive journal elements. And so we've got our book here, a source book which we've been adding all our ideas to. And today we're going to be doing paper bag pockets. Now, you may well have seen these, and this is great. We're going to be using one of these paper bags, this type of bag, to make a lovely little pop-up pocket. That's cool. But what if you don't have this kind of paper bag? And I've got to be honest, I don't always have these. We tend to end up with a lot of flat paper bags, you know, like the more like the bags they provide in the supermarket for you to put like your mushrooms in when you're weighing them, instead of plastic ones. But I don't always have these more gifty type bags with this reinforced bottom. So I'm also going to show you how to make one of these basically, so that you can still create this pocket if you don't have this type of bag. And there's going to be a little bit of a surprise bonus later on in the video, where I'm going to show you something else to make using the same technique. So stay tuned and we will see how we go. All right, let's make some space. So if you've not seen these bags, basically this is what it looks like when it goes into your journal. This base piece here is glued down, and you have a little tab and you pull up, and you end up with this really cute little pocket that you can hide things in. Okay, so that's where we're going today. So if you have one of these bags, this is great. Now what I would say to you, if you've got one with these handles, harvest the handles, take those off before you do anything else. And I'm going to show you a little trick. Oh. Now some of these handles are different, depends on your make of bag, but I'm going to get rid of that bit on the end that is stuck. That end might be alright. Let's have a look. Oh. Now some of our bags here in New Zealand are twisted. The handles are twisted, and as you can see, I'm just going to untwist this. Now I've seen some others that are folded, but it works the same. You have these lovely twisty ones, you untwist the handles, and you have an amazing piece of paper, which is great for collage or layering or on use in your journals, whatever you like to do with them. So there you go. Don't waste that. All right, that's a little tip. I'll just pop the other one off as well. Now, don't worry if that makes a mess. It's unlike, we're not going to be using that piece, but these are great, so keep those. Right. If you have a bag like this project is really, really simple, because all you do is you take the base of your bag and make sure it's folded flat like that. Okay, so here's the top of your bag, here's the base, fold it up like that, and you're going to cut along here. Now, as you can see, this is quite a big bag. This would need a reasonable sized journal to put this in, but for my demonstration purposes today, it's easier to show you on something like this. I'll measure it and just let you know. Okay, this is about 6.5 by 4 inches, so it is quite big. All right, you've cut that off. What you've now got is basically a mini bag. And what we're going to do, this piece here, the bottom, is going to be what's stuck into our journal. So if you put it like that, you will see you've got a flat piece here, and you've got two smaller flat pieces here. And what we're going to do is to decorate those. Now, if you know me and you've watched any of your videos, you'll know I like an inked edge. So what I'm going to do now, before I do anything else, is to grab my ink pad and I'm just going to ink all of those edges. Okay, once those edges are inked up, all you need to do now is decorate, really. I've got these pieces pre-cut and I have also inked the edges of these. Now, I've just been through my stash this morning and, you know, my scrap drawer, and I have pulled out just some bits and pieces that needed using up, leftovers from other projects. You will notice I'm using my big glue today and I really don't like doing that. I prefer my little bottle. Mr. Gemini have just returned from holiday and we spent some of our holiday away in our caravan, and when we came home I left my travel craft kit in the caravan. And my travel craft kit has my little bottle of this glue in it. Now, unfortunately, our caravan doesn't live at our house, it lives at our daughter's house, which is about an hour away from us. And so I can't actually get my glue at the moment. So I'm having to rely on a big bottle. Never mind, we won't complain. Let's have a look. Do they match up? No, not really. Maybe that way. Okay. Now, you know, like all of my projects, you can decorate these in whatever way you want. I'm just giving you a little bit of an idea. I've cut these slightly smaller than the pieces I'm sticking them to. I like the look of that border around the edge. If you don't like that, cut them a little bit bigger. Yeah, again, it's just a personal preference thing. Ooh. Just hold those for a moment to get them to stick. All right, so let's go back to where we were, which is here. This is going to be our front. And I think on this one, I'm going to I've cut a couple of little corner pieces and I'm going to put those on just as little tuck spots because I'm sort of envisaging a postcard or something tucked into the front here because it's so big. This is the difficulty of not having my little bottle. I have to see if I've got another one. So I'm going to set these in just slightly from the edge. And again, you could add whatever you want onto here. You could put a belly band, you could just put a nice image on the front really, or you could put a cluster, whatever you fancy. Now I've just noticed that the wood grain on those pieces is going in opposite directions, but I'm not too fussed about that. When this goes into a journal, it will have extra bits added on, but let me show you. So this is creating a little tuck spot here and here, and as I say, I envisage like a postcard or a nice image on the front there that can then be removed and will probably be extra journaling space. Okay, so that's fine. Now then, the next thing I want to do is to create a little tab to go on here to make it easier to pull up. I've got a piece of contrasting, I think these must have come from the same pack, these papers. Again, it's a little offcut. I've folded it in half and I'm going to grab my hole punch. Now I'm going to take the bottom off my hole punch to make this easier for you to see. Taking this corner, I'm going to slide it in and I'm going to find myself a mark so that I know how far into the circle. So I'm going to look at this piece of plastic here and I'm going in halfway. Now I've taken a corner off. All right, so I'm going to come along a bit and I'm going to put this folded edge in to that same line there, but this time I'm going all the way across. There, I'm going to come along again. It doesn't matter how far, you'll be able to judge that in a moment when you see what I'm going to do next. And then I'm going to do this last corner. And you end up with a piece that looks like this. And all you need to do then is find the middle of that circle, which is about there. Snip, snip, and you've created page tabs. All right, I'm going to use this one, I think. Let's put those to the side. They can be used. This one, and this one. Yeah, I'm going to go for this one. I'm just going to run a little bit of ink around the edges of this. This is a great way not only of making page tabs but also using up your scraps. So as long as you've got a piece that you can fold in half, you can make these. All right, so let's put some glue. Oh, do we want a brown one? No. Okay. I was just wondering whether I want a plain brown tab. No, don't. Oh, it does feel really clumsy using this big glue. Never mind. I'll work with that. Now, so you're going to want to attach this to here. Okay, and then once this is stuck into your journal, you will be able to lift this up and out, and there is your pocket. Now the other thing I like to do is to cut a piece to go in the bottom here, and again that could be a lovely image, you know, wouldn't that be lovely to open that up and find a beautiful image in there, as well as maybe some ephemera, journaling cards, whatever you want to put in there. And in order to get that size, you just need to look at the bottom of here and cut it, maybe about 1 millimetre smaller all round. So there we go, guys. That in essence is our pocket. So, and again, like I've always said, you can decorate this to your heart's content. All right. Now, that's great. If you've got bags, really easy, quick, simple, nothing much to it. But what if you haven't got bags? Or what if you want smaller or bigger than the bags you do have? Well, that's where we're going to go next. Okay, now you can use any size piece of paper for this. In order to show you, I'm using a 12 by 12 sheet, and this is, it's kind of craft paper actually. Let me show you. Here we go. I picked this up in a store we have called Spotlight. I know they're in Australia as well. It doesn't say the weight. It's a thin cardstock, I would say, but it's really good. Just check to see if it says on a bit. Okay, it says it's made by American Crafts, who are it says it's an American company, so you may be able to get this in America as well. Right, if you want to look out for that. So, but you can do this with anything, and of course if you do it with a patterned piece of paper, then there's less decorating, or you can use that as a background for your decoration, and we'll see that in a moment. But I'm going to show you on a 12 by 12 sheet because that's going to be easier for you to see. All right, I'm not going to be working at this this size. Okay, so take your piece of paper. I have made a little mark just in the middle here, and all I've done is folded it over and just put a little mark there. It's not essential, but it can help. So you're going to take one side and you're going to fold it just past, just slightly past that halfway mark. Now, you know, the lovely thing about this project is that measurements are not crucial. What is crucial now is that you need to overlap. So you're going to fold the other side in and you're going to overlap. And if I'm working at this size, I like to overlap round about ½ inch. And again, that's not set in stone, you know, you need enough to be able to glue down. So let me show you. Can you see there? If I do that, you can see how much that's overlapped. Okay, so what you're going to do now is unfold, and you're going to run a line of glue down there. Now, I always have a quick look inside just to make sure that that glue hasn't squidged out, because we don't want the two pieces gluing together. All right, now this is the only piece I measure. I found it easier if you measure your width. Now, this of course is just under 6 inches because we folded it with a little bit of an overlap. I'm going to call it 6 inches because it is only just under. Okay, that's roughly 6 inches. So you need to halve that measurement, which is 3, and make a little mark 3 inches up from the bottom. And then that is where you need to fold. And again, this is not an absolute precise. I have just found it's easier. Measure this width and halve it and fold the bottom up that amount, because that seems to work. And all I'm doing is keeping this edge nice and straight, then going across. That should give us a nice square fold. Okay, once you've done that, I'm going to do, I think in origami this is called a squash fold, and you're going to lift that bottom piece up and you're going to squash in, and you're going to want to go right to this corner. So I found if you squash from that corner and keep this fold here level with the bottom, and you'll see what I mean when you do it, and crease those triangles out. Now, it is a little bit fiddly, but it's like a lot of things. The more you do, the more you get used to it. Now, what you'll notice is that those two pieces just slightly overlap, and that's because my bag wasn't quite 6 inches, but I went up a full 3. Okay. So you've got a nice little square like that. Crease it, and then we're going to crease it really well. Particularly at those points. And then we're going to bring those points into the centre. And what you want to do is to make sure that this here is straight with this line here. if that makes sense. Now you've got two options here. You can glue these triangles and wait for them to dry before you do anything else, or you can use a little bit of washi tape or sellotape. Doesn't really matter because this is not going to show when you're making the pocket. So I've got some washi tape here, which is perhaps not a favourite of mine. And I'm going to put that like that. That will hold it. And also then I don't have to wait for it to dry before showing you the next step. Now the next step, this is easier with a bigger piece of paper, I have to say, because you can get your hand into the bag and push it out. It's a little more fiddly if you're working on something this size, but it's not impossible. So you put your hand in, push the bottom of the bag out, and then you want to just go around those bottom edges, crease them to make that square. Okay, you see that? And you will find that if you sand it like that, these edges start to come into the bag shape that you need quite easily. Now, if you just start to crease at the bottom here, those creases will be in the right place. To get your creases right all the way up, it's a little trick that you can do. And if down the bottom here, from this fold, if you measure out, okay, that is round about 1.5 inches from that fold to the edge on each side. So if at the top you then measure 1.5 inches and put a tiny little pencil mark, we'll do the same this side. What you will then find is if you pinch at that pencil mark like that and pinch at the bottom, you should be able to get a fairly straight line for your crease. And the same here. Alright, now I just put the creases in like that to start with. Flip it over, do exactly the same. We know that this is going to be roughly 1.5 inches both ways. And again, this is not an exact measurement, you're just giving yourself a helping hand to get these crease lines straight-ish. Right, once you've got those, you know, a hint of those lines where they need to be, you're then going to look for the triangles at the bottom. So you will see you've got two sides without triangles and two sides with triangles. The sides that have got the triangles and the crease, the original crease, you're going to push in. This way you sometimes have to do a little bit of manipulation. You push that bottom bit up, and this is why I say don't make these creases too firm yet, because that should give you both sides so you do have to manipulate a little bit. So that triangle goes in. with that crease. That's it. And then you will find that it quite naturally goes down. And if you run your bone folder along, you should get some reasonably straight. And that has just gone slightly to the side. I'm not too worried about that. And basically, what you've now created is your paper bag. Okay, so we're back to where we started. Where's my other bag gone? We're back to where we started with this one, nearly, because you'll see what you need to do now is to fold that one over like that, so that the bottom of your bag is showing. Actually, that's not there, it is. So that the bottom of your bag is showing like that. And we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to cut here. We're going to turn it over, and there is the basis ready for decoration. Now, I'll measure this for you so that you've got an idea. So a 12 by 12 piece has made a pocket which is just under 3 inches square. All right. You can use whatever size paper you like. If you've got a rectangle, fold the short edges in. That's right. Fold the short edges in. Now, that's great. So there's the basis of your pocket. Got that. You can decorate away. But you've also got this piece that you cut off. Now, for me, that's a waste. Okay, we don't want to be throwing this away. We don't want to be putting this in our scrap pile. So what you can do, if you've got a nice long piece left like this, open those creases back out so that you've got your stuck, the piece you originally folded and stuck here. And we're going to do exactly the same again. We're going to take a rough measurement, 6 inches, half of that is 3. We know that that's about where we need to fold. So I'm going to go up, I'm going to keep this edge nice and straight. Open up, squash fold both sides. Getting right into that corner, and sometimes if you've got you know, an embossing tool or something and gently poke it into that corner, it comes down nicely. Now this one, you'll notice there is a little gap there. I probably didn't fold it up quite as much. Don't panic, doesn't matter. Fold down to the middle. Tape or glue your bottom. Open up. Now this time of course it's going to be much easier because you already have the folds coming this way, so you literally just need to get the creases into the bottom there. Oh. those creases, you've got nice firm bottom there. You've already got your creases, so your bag is going to fold much more easily. You just need to manipulate that bottom bit. Fold it nice and flat, flip the bottom out. Cut it off, and there you have a second pocket ready to go. All right, now with these ones that I've made, I do tend to cut, the first thing I do is to cut a base and glue it inside, and that just strengthens it and holds those bottom pieces down. And then, like these, you will see you can decorate the front and the sides there. All right, because those are the pieces you're going to see. Now, I don't think I can get another one out of that because I don't think it's going to be big enough to fold up. I could try. I'll have a look in a moment. I won't do it on camera. A little tip. Learn from my mistakes is what I always say. When I was making this one, I made it from a page of music paper because I thought, oh, that would look cool. But it was old music paper and a little bit more fragile than I thought. And I don't know whether you can see here, but already just folding and unfolding this has caused this to break. So what I would say to you is to use a decent weight of paper and be a little bit aware of using you know, your more vintage papers, because those folds do get a lot of wear and tear when you open this. And as you can see, just from opening and closing this, whilst I've been, you know, making some demo ones, has caused those sides to crack quite badly. All right, so you've got your bases, you're ready to go. You can go off and decorate those to your heart's content. I want to show you the bonus thing now that I promised at the beginning of this video. Okay guys, so this time you will see that I have a patterned piece of scrapbook paper, and it's a reasonable weight. You can hear it's probably, I would call, somewhere between paper and card. This is an offcut. This is 12 by 8 inches. Okay, so we're not using a square this time, we're using a rectangle, and this is just for illustration to show you that you can use either. Now this time we're going to do exactly the same thing, but before we do, we're going to go along this long edge and I'm going to score. I'm just looking to see if my pattern's directional. If it's directional, you want to score along the top edge. Oh, excuse me. Now I've only got a little scoreboard. I'm going to score at about 3/4 of an inch. That doesn't have to be 3/4 of an inch, but that's what I'm choosing to do. And as you can see, it's a little bit hard on this little scoreboard, but you want to score enough so that you have got a reasonable turnover. So before we do anything else, I'm going to fold that over, crease it down. Ooh, dropped my glue. And we're going to put a little bit of glue on there just to hold it over. Now I would say probably don't go less than 3/4 of an inch, and you'll see why in a moment. Now this particular scrapbook paper, when you fold it, you tend to get a little white showing along the edge. So I'm literally just going to run my ink along that edge before I do anything else. All right, now I'll do it this way so that you can see the folded edge at the top, and I'm going to do exactly the same as we've done previously. So I'm going to give myself a rough idea where the middle is and fold just over that. Okay, so you will see that we're at exactly the same point, and if we were going to make this into a pocket, I would be cutting across here, but have a look. What you will find is that you have yourself a cute little gift bag. Now, what I would do next, I'll show you what I would do next actually, and then we'll address the issue at the bottom. What I'm going to do is to just push those two sides out slightly like that. I'm going to squash it, and I'm just holding, so this is our front panel, I'm just holding that together with the back panel. I am going to grab my crocodile, and I'm going to go in there, there, and then you have your holes to put some ribbon or nice string, and you have a little gift bag. So let's just find some ribbon and we'll do that. These pieces are quite cool. Now these I picked up in a charity shop, and they've got some little sealy bit on the end, so I'm just going to cut those off. Now if you wanted to be really posh, you could put eyelets in these holes. I'm not going to for this one. I am just going to put my bag handles on like this, and you will see really simply I am just tying a knot in the end. You can trim those off if you want to. Now I know these two pieces are the same length because they've come ready measured for me. I don't know what they were going to be. but I got a bag of them, as I say, in a charity shop, an op shop. Now I will be trimming the ends of those knots just to make them a little tidier before I use it. But there you go, you have your little gift bag. Now, as you will have seen, the bottom of this, I didn't fold it up quite far enough. My measurements were a little bit out. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to measure this piece here, the bottom. Guys, I was just looking in my scrap drawer for a piece of offcut of black card, and I found this already done, and actually that's just about the right size. So because that base doesn't look fabulous, and I want to use this as a nice gift bag for somebody, and that's also going to strengthen it. Okay, so there we are, guys. There's your bonus. As well as making our pop-up pocket, we can use exactly the same technique and we can make lovely little gift bags. So here you go. This one, I've made a couple of these. This was made from, so this bit was, what was that one? 12 by 8. That was an 8 by 8 sheet. And then these two were made from an A4 sheet. So the two of them came from the one A4 sheet. So these would have been like this. Okay, so A4, that's letter size. And I've just done different little handles on them. Some have got one hole each side, some have got two. If you don't want to put holes in the top, you can just put a little clip. So pull your bag together at the top, put a little paper clip. You could make a hidden paper clip even, as another form of closure. So there we go, guys. The gift bag is a bit of a bonus using the same technique, but our pop-up element for the day, and here's our two finished ones. A pop-up element for the day is our little pocket, and this one you can see I've made from scrapbook paper, and so that it's got some leaves on, I think, but I thought that would be a really nice background to start putting some decoration on. So there we go, guys. I hope that's been useful. There's another interactive element for your journal, and as a bonus, we've now got the ability to make a little gift bag as well. Okay, guys, that's all from me today. As I say, Mr. Gemini are just back from holiday. I have a few things on at the moment. My life is a little bit hectic, so there may only be one video a week from me for the next couple of weeks, and that will be the interactive journal elements, because I'm loving it, you seem to be loving it, so let's keep on with the good thing, and let's make our journals fun and interesting. All right, so if I don't see you before, I will see you next weekend. But for now, stay safe, happy crafting, ka kite anō.